Here with Concordia head baseball coach Ryan Dupic to preview the 2023 season, and as we record this, you've had a little bit of official practice time leading into the season. That'll be approaching quickly. Just looking back quick, you're coming off back-to-back 40-win seasons. How do you put it into words what it meant kind of for last season's team to follow up what you did in 21 and put together another run that almost got you back to Lewiston?
Yeah, I think the strength of the finish to our season was, was a really good accomplishment for the team last year. And, hopefully it puts our program in a position to have high expectations year by year and to try to be in a position to compete at a regional and national level year to year. So that the way we finished last season was really special, and hopefully it creates some momentum and some increased hope heading into this season too.
You've had 2 years of really elite kind of offensive production the last couple seasons. When you look back at kind of how this lineup was constructed, how do you explain how it got to this point?
Yeah, I think a lot of good players obviously is a start. I think just probably think back to some of the recruiting stories and how many different sort of cooks were in the kitchen, so to speak. We got this guy through this person and this guy through this person, and it just kind of came together pretty well. Had a coach help here, a coach help there, a connection or relationship there, and I think we always have preferences about how our teams are built, but sometimes you just try to find the best players that you can, and I think that's kind of how it's evolved for us. But yeah, a lot of really good hitters, I think, on the first part, and guys that came in that were pretty skilled out of the gate, and we could see that, and then obviously trying to help make them better and develop them here since they've come, and through our hitting coaches has been a big part of that too.
Like you said, a lot of different individual guys you could highlight. It would take a while. I kind of wanted to look at Jay Adams, who has been your second baseman and hit at the top of the lineup. What he did in the GPAC tournament last year was pretty incredible. What is his meaning kind of to this team and the success you've had?
We've always had somebody at the top of the order, it seems like for a while now, that's been kind of a catalyst for our program, and it's been guys like Ellis Alsad and Casey Berg and Wade Council, and just a number of different players that have kind of been somebody that helps create kind of a dynamic portion of our lineup. And I was speaking to a coach in our league last year about that, and he had referenced that. And I think he was accurate, and it was interesting to get his perspective from the outside in. He said he really felt like Jay's the guy that makes us go. Like when he's going good, that our team is really good, that we have a lot of good kind of power hitters in the middle of that order. But when Jay is going, that really makes us special. And I think that's pretty accurate. We saw that at the end of last season. Jay is a guy that, we recruited, that's a local kid. And, he was on a really good high school team with a lot of really good players. There was a number of different guys that we were glancing at the time, but Jay kind of stood out. He was a good multi-sport athlete. He had really good bat-to-ball skills. He was a really good athlete. So, he's just somebody we got to know a little bit. Coach Bryce Berg was a big part of that recruitment as well, and we're really happy to get him. So he's had a really good career here, and we're happy to have him back and continuing to make a big impact for us.
Well, I'll mention some of the guys that were all conference real quick from last year that are coming back. Joey Grabansky, Jaden Quinn, Alec Blakestad, Ben Berg, Jesse Garcia, Ty Nikolajczyk. That's from a position player perspective. How does that whole group kind of embody what you envision for a lineup and for this program?
I think it gives us really good stability. You're talking about a lot of older and experienced players who've had some success already and now have a chance to come back and provide great depth to the lineup. They've kind of been through stuff before. I think it just shows and highlights how important it is to find good players, but also have guys who continue to make growth and improve, like Alec Blakestad and Ty Nikolajczyk. So, you're talking about some really good players and some really good hitters there. Particularly when you think about guys like Joey and Quinn and Jesse Garcia, and the success they've had through their career here, whether short or long. And you think about Ben Berg. Ben was off to a great start last year and then kind of had a little injury flare-up, so really excited to see him. He had a great fall, head into this spring, and is somebody we're kind of waiting for to bust out a little bit. So, it's a group that has a lot of depth, and it's certainly the strength of our program right now. There's no doubt is the offensive depth that we have within our lineup.
And just sticking with that for one more question, you seem to have a lot settled in terms of that lineup with those guys back, but how does that impact recruiting when you're looking at putting together a team? Obviously, you're always looking towards what the future years are going to look like too, but you had a lot of position players back, so how does that impact things?
Yeah, I think our goal is to continue to find guys that are the right fit. I think it does impact recruiting from the perspective that we've got some good younger players in the program, but we also know that a few of those guys are probably trying to continue to get better while waiting their turn a little bit, because there's some good guys ahead of them that have done some really good things. But time has a way of sneaking up on you, and things happen, and injuries happen, and stuff changes. And when we started the season last year, I didn't expect Tanner Tompkins to end up being a guy that DHs for us and plays 4 games every weekend. I didn't have Ty Nikolajczyk written in the lineup every single day, and we thought that Alec Blake said had made some really good growth, and we're excited to see him play, but he wasn't penciled in every single day to start. So, things have a way of changing quickly as we go, and I think in the future years we're going to see a lot of turnover with our offense, and we'll have to have some more guys ready as we go.
Looking at pitching, you had 4 kind of main starters last year that seemed to get better as the spring went on last year, and that was Caden Bogarski, Christian Gutierrez, Alex Johnson, and Caden Johnson. What can you say kind of about the progress of that group since the end of last season?
Yeah, I think, those guys, the way that they ended the season was a big kind of momentum thing for us. I thought they were very strong at the end of the season. We saw people make some great progress. I thought Alex had a really strong finish to the year. I thought Caden Johnson had a really strong finish to the year. And then, Christian Gutierrez and Caden Bogarski really solidified our rotation for sure. So kind of a different, season then having come off that. And then having their own training or pitching in the summer a little bit. A couple of guys are working through a few physical things right now that's unfortunate, but we're trying to keep or get them healthy as we go. But they're good kids. They're really hard workers. If we can get them healthy and have them in the right place, it could be really exciting to see them come back and try to add on some of the success they've had already.
At the same time, I know it was a priority to add depth to the pitching staff, and you've done that with some transfers, some freshmen. But what benefit do you see from some of the transfers that have come into the program? Yeah,
Blake Benson's done a really nice job and had a solid fall for us. I think that he will be a good pitcher for us this year. I'm excited to see what he can do. Frankie Crest is a guy who has pitched a lot of college innings and has pitched at a very competitive level, and I think he's going to be able to help us a lot as well. And then Kellen Ingram has really special stuff and is a guy that also has some college experience. So I have high expectations for those 3 guys. I'm hopeful that they can provide some really good depth for us. One thing that is really clear within pitching is you can just never have enough of it. And so, I think we need some of our newcomer guys to come in and do a good job. And we also need some of our other players to grow and to develop, and so that we can be at our best as the season's progressing on.
This back-to-back years, you've been ranked in the top 25 in the preseason. What do you take away from that, just in terms of some of the respect your program has gained nationally?
Yeah, it's a positive sign of the past success of the program and some of the things that have been done by the previous teams, and so it's kind of a tip of the cap and a compliment to the players and the teams that have come before here, and so certainly I guess a positive thing in the big picture scope of what some of those previous guys have done.
As we mentioned, you've been to the World Series in 21 and one win away from getting back there last year. Is it fair to say that that's something you guys are comfortable talking about now that's something that's a goal for the program?
I think it's understood that our team would like to do that, like any team in the country would. Our players met just themselves to talk about some of that stuff in the fall, and it's certainly something that comes up from time to time. I'm certainly not probably the lead of our meetings and communication as we go. We have a lot of kind of process-oriented things that we're continuing to try to grow on, and that's really kind of how I think that we've built the program, is just trying to continue to make progress as we go. And I know a lot of times people feel like that's just kind of coach speak, but I really do believe in that. So I think it's definitely something that we want to do, and it's a goal that we have to get back there and to compete at a high level. We want to be the best possible team we can be. And I think that will be accomplished if we can continue to make growth and progress week by week and day by day. It's kind of where our focus is all right now, is continuing to think about the things that have helped us be successful and building on those strengths, but also trying to continue to improve some of the areas that we need to grow on.
I wanted to talk lastly kind of about the schedule. It's probably fair to say, at least based on where the programs you're going up against have been, it looks like it might be the toughest non-conference schedule a Concordia baseball team has ever gone up against. What influenced you to kind of be aggressive in the way you scheduled those opponents?
Well, I was hopeful that we'll have a good team this year, so I wanted to try to challenge us early. And I think, like anything, there's kind of multiple variables that came together. We wanted to play some challenging teams early, so we scheduled teams like Bellevue and Oklahoma City in that opening weekend, which will be a significant challenge for us. We scheduled Kaiser down in Florida, so I think those are the two goals of let's just try to add a couple. We play in a lot of invitationals now. That's something that's growing a lot within college baseball, and so the way the schedule just kind of worked out, we have some other really good teams that we're going to play there too. So some of it was kind of us preparing that and putting that together, and some of it was just kind of getting matched with a few teams invitational-wise. But we will be challenged at a very, very high level this year through the early parts of our season. There's no question about it. It's definitely the best schedule we've ever had since I've been here. We're going to learn a lot about our team. Our goal is to go out there and to compete right away, and we'll see where we're at and learn a lot from it.